ever seen a structure that evokes this very mysterious and beautiful aura or vibe into it? Structures that are highly detailed, intricately sculpted, and ornate with stained glasses and different structures. Now, these descriptions perfectly fit the style in which most buildings, especially churches built in the mid 12th and 16th century, were built in this style that we mostly see today, the style we call Gothic style. When we hear the term Gothic, pag una natin narinig yung Gothic, ang unang pumapasok sa atin ay emo, vampire, heavy metal, and the Addams Family. Pero ano nga ba talaga yung totoong definition of Gothic in terms of architecture? The term Gothic was rooted from Giorgio Vasari's commentary on this style in the late 1550s. He stated that this style is a barbarous German style, which means it's kind of unsophisticated, and blame it to the Goths for ruining the ancient buildings that exist during that time. In the year 1140, this type of style began to spread. It began to prevail around Europe. Pero sino nga ba talaga yung nagpasimula? Sino yung nagpasimula ng style ng architecture na to? He was a French abbot, the advisor for two kings, King Louis VI and Louis VII. And his name is Abbot Suger. Abbot Suger is the supervisor for the rebuilding of the choir of the Benedictine Church of St. Denis. And ever since na rebuilt, it began the use of the style of Gothic architecture. Now, Gothic architecture took Romanesque architecture's elements and incorporated it into their designs. These elements, such as the arches, the vaulted ceilings, and the stained windows, they incorporated it in the Gothic style and translated it into a larger scale instead. However, the walls on the Romanesque architecture are thick. Dito naman sa Gothic, hindi siya makapal dahil merong flying buttresses. Now, when you go inside these buildings, especially on churches, you will be greeted by its high ceiling, intricately designed windows, which are called rose windows, by the way, and highly decorated interior. Now, that leaves this very dramatic impression na para bang kahit sa ang corner ka tumingin, kahit sa ang parte ka ng simbahan tumingin, meron ka makikita na very intricately designed, na it leaves this kind of a feast for the eyes. On the other hand, on its exterior, it also doesn't disappoint, no? Kung ano yung kinaganda ng loob, gano'n din yung kinaganda ng labas. Yung labas niya is highly detailed with sculptures, with statues, na may biblical reference, kasi nga diba dahil sa churches. However, aside from its religious references of statues, meron din namang other type of statues, which are the gargoyles. And for me, gargoyles are what defines Gothic architecture, na parang kapag merong gargoyle yung isang structure, parang madali mo siyang ma-identify na, siguro Gothic yung style nito. Now, what are gargoyles? Gargoyles are described as grotesque images of human-like figures, kumbaga nakakatakot. And these gargoyles have an open mouth. Now, these open mouth have a purpose, and the purpose of it is to drain rainwater out of the building. Pero how can we easily identify it? Or how can we easily know if a certain structure is Gothic or in the style of Gothic? We can do that by mostly looking at its characteristics. As mentioned a while ago, Gothic architecture can be identified by its elements such as flying buttresses, pointed arches, rib vaults, rose windows, and gargoyles. The first and most significant development in this style that has been developed was the creation of rib vaults. It is formed out of intersecting barrel vaults, and supported a vaulted ceiling made of thin stones, panels, and by stone ribs. The weight of the ceiling is now transmitted along the distinct stone of rib rather than along a continuous wall edge, and it could be channeled from the rib to the supports, such as vertical piers or flying buttresses. This new arrangement not only significantly reduced the weight of the ceiling vault, kumbaga, dahil sa flying buttresses, hindi na nila kailangan ng makakapal na walls. And also, additionally, Gothic architecture changed the round arches into pointed vaults to distribute the weights evenly and vertically. Those are the development that were implemented in this style of architecture.